My name is Bailey Liccato, and I'm applying for the customer service and slash office manager position at Castle Property Services. I'm just going to answer the quick questions that you sent over to me to answer. So first, we're going to start off with what makes you the right choice for the Castle customer service and officer management position. I believe that I'm the right person for this position due to my background and my job history. I've had a lot of experience in customer service, management, scheduling, communication, organizing, um, and doing reports and getting all of the information out as quickly as possible when needed and timely and correctly. So I think all of my past experiences are definitely something that would shine in this position. The next question are three of my strengths. So one, I would say these two go hand in hand because communication and customer service. I have a high proficiency of customer service and communication due to my past experiences as a retail sales manager. I was in the retail store dealing with customers and customer issues, and then communication has been a major aspect in all the positions I have held, from being a retail sales manager to a distribution department manager to a purchasing associate. Each of these needed high proficiency of communication to achieve the job correctly. My second strength would be my analytical and problem solving skills. Um, as in the purchasing role, I have had to do ATR shipments, which dealt with a lot of individual problem solving to complete the tasks and get the shipment in through customs by the time it arrives into the United States. So I believe that's definitely one of my strengths with dealing with problem solving and figure out how to do things more efficiently and more effectively when it comes to my workload and schedule. My last strength that I want to discuss is planning skills. I have high planning skills, once again, due to my experience in the distribution department warehouse management position. We had to plan. I was in charge of two different departments, and I had to plan and organize things the most effectively and efficiently as possible to get everything done and more on a daily basis. So planning skills came in high and strong because without those types of planning skills, I would not have achieved the things I needed to and surpass the goals of the warehouse on a daily basis. The next question are my three weaknesses. So my three weaknesses are being too critical, perfectionism, and too detail oriented. I would say that I am too critical because a lot of times I don't stop and look what I've done. I've always feel like it could be done better, even though I get great reviews and the reports and the progress I have made all comes back as high and extremely well. So to change that, I've kind of been stopping to focus more on my accomplishments and celebrating them a little more, realizing that I've done them and what I've completed. It gives me a little way to step back to stop being so critical to myself. The second one is perfectionism. So a lot of times I take something and I want to make it perfect. I go over the details and the issues and what we can change or what we can do to make it better. I constantly look over them and compare and figure out what I can do or what the company as a whole could do to be more effective and efficient. So I've been trying to find more of a balance with that, realizing that this is due on this due date instead of it turning in, a couple hours early because I'm going over the details over and over again. I usually try to put my deadline actually 2 to 3 days before the actual deadline so that I know it's done. I've looked it over enough and I know it's completed and everything should be up to my standards. The last weakness that I have is I get too detail oriented. Um, Once again, this goes back to what I was just talking about. I like to go over the details so many times, over and over and over again. I had that a lot with ATR shipments, just because there was a lot of data entry and comparing data from, the factory and our warehouse. So I spent a lot of time, comparing details. I would, compare the packing list between the warehouse and the factory probably 2 or 3 times before it actually entered into the system to make sure it's all correct. So sometimes I really dive into the details more than I need to, which it does, you know, take up a little bit more time, but at least I know it's done correct. But I probably don't need to be as detail oriented as I am. So the next question is, what is my 5-year plan? When thinking about my 5-year plan, I'm trying to get into a company that I can stay with long term. That's really my goal. I don't want to be jumping around or going place from place. I want to be somewhere that I want to get a job at a company, and in 5 years, I still want to be there. I want to, have the opportunity to move up and, gain different experiences in that company. But that's something I look for in my 5-year plan, is definitely to stay with the same company and, gain experiences. I really like the big picture aspect of things. So I like to see different sides and, learn as much as possible whenever I can, because that gives you the big picture of, how the company works and what needs to be achieved in the company, or what the company's goals are. You're the number one person that can help them achieve them as an employee. So that's what I look for when I'm thinking about my 5-year plan, is just to be with a company that I can grow and expand and gain knowledge. The next question is, why am I interested in this position? I'm interested in this position because I think this position really is structured to my strengths. So, my customer service aspect in Duluth Trading Company, my management skills at Duluth and Waco, my organization skills, which I have been able to develop and learn over all of my roles, my scheduling abilities from purchasing, doing reports and purchasing as well. And then a number one thing that I really see in this position is the communication aspects of things. It's a major detail when, you're dealing with customers or dealing with vendors, is you have to have really good communication. And that's something I strive for, because I think communication is a key to a lot of things. You'll achieve a lot more if you do have good communication, because you're getting your point across and people are understanding, and you can sell a product better just by the way you communicate. So I'm interested in this position because I think it would be fascinating. I think I'd use a lot of my great skills at this company and in this role. So I really push and I really hope that I can move forward with Castle Property Services and work with you guys. And the last question is, what is the most challenging part of my last 2 jobs? So first, I'm going to start out with the distribution department manager position. The most challenging part of that, I would say, was I was actually in charge of 2 departments when I was only supposed to be in charge of 1. And I was actually in charge of both during our busiest season of the year. So usually during the year, our average is about 25,000 pairs of shoes a year that we pick and pack. During busy season, we were actually at 50,000 pairs. So, we almost are doubling the amount that we do. So that was a major thing, and I actually had picking and packing to be a manager of and in charge of and keep track of. I enjoyed it. However, it did become a challenge, because you're just trying to be so busy and keep up with things that, sometimes it would have been better to have 2 people there to make sure that, every employee was helped when exactly they needed it, or if they had questions with HR, you were able to walk them down there and help them with that. I was not. I had to stay where I was because, I was in charge of so many employees at once that, I had to have HR come up by us or send the employee down to HR, where I would have preferred to go with and help that employee as much as I could. And then my last job as a purchasing associate, I would say the most challenging part of that job, honestly, was having to deal with a lot of factories in China. A lot of the communication with them was over email, which was easiest just because of the time difference. But that also made it hard too, because there would be some things I needed for an answer for. For example, I had a shipment that I had to get through customs in 2 days. They sent the documents late, so I only had 2 days to put them in the system, but the invoices were wrong. So I needed new invoices and new packing lists to be able to do that. And unfortunately, I only technically had one night. They were unable to get me the invoices in time. However, I had to figure it out and problem solve and pull all that information together, and I did get it passed through customs. But that's a major challenge in that position, was having to deal with a completely different time schedule, because you're emailing and you're not going to get a response for 1 to 2, maybe 3 days at that point. So that did make it a little difficult. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch my video and reaching out for me for this opportunity. I really look forward to working with Castle Property Services and showing you my skills. If you guys have any other questions or need any more information from me, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you. Have a good day.